What's going on, everyone? So today we are trying to hunt down some Boba Fett green players with a little bit of a adjacent mid-range deck in Vader green. I've been tuning this list and practicing against a bunch of Boba green lately, and I've had some pretty decent results. I want to showcase it here for you all today. Before we do, big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. Also, I have a TCG player link in the description down below. Be sure to use it for all your Star Wars cards needs. Let's talk about Vader Green and why I've had success with it against Boba Green. And of course, let's play some games today. So first off, for those of you that have seen a Boba Green, it has proliferated throughout the entire Star Wars Unlimited meta. It was extremely dominant with the planetary qualifiers, and as such, people continuously pick it up more and more and more as the time goes on, because not only is it popular, not only is it getting results, but it's also just, well, a deck that's not incredibly crazy to figure out the lines for. With all that said, one of the things that has been consistently stated is Boba Fett's ability works really weak against control decks. But not only that, controlling decks tend to be just a little bit bigger, go a little bit more value, a little bit longer game-based than Boba Green does. And that's kind of the area we're shooting for here with Vader Green. Of course, our leader is just a little bit more powerful than Boba Fett, assuming he actually gets down on the field, which is something that we need to make sure happens. Our late game tends to be just a tad bit stronger due to Crate Dragons, our Emperor Palpatines, and things like that. We're ramping just a little bit more with things like Price on Your Head than Boba Green. And all of that combined to hopefully give us a little bit of an advantage. Now, I will say, if you're looking to bring a deck to a tournament and have the best results possible, you shouldn't be bringing Vader Green necessarily. You can, and maybe if there's a lot of Boba Greens, you might perform reasonably if you are a strong player, but there's a reason why Boba Green is the top of the meta, and that's because it also has really good matchups against everything. We're trying to go a little bit more greedy. Boba Green isn't really a hyper-aggressive deck. It tends to do a little bit of ramping, getting Boba down, and then catch up by valuing out with the extra resources. We are just trying to ramp with them and then outvalue them with our stronger leader in terms of combat stats and the attacking potential. So when we're doing that, and because we're doing that, we are going to struggle even more against control decks. That's where a lot of our sideboard plan comes in against them. We're also going to have a little bit more trouble against the aggro decks. So we're a little bit more extreme on the ends because we're trying to deal with Boba Green. And that's where the sideboard comes in. As I said, we have a couple of different cards specifically for Boba Fett and cards that are proliferate through the meta. So Confiscate, dealing with Darksabers, dealing with Boba Fett's armor, is extremely powerful in this deck. I've actually really appreciated Vader's lightsaber because Boba Green tends to not have ways to kill Darth Vader immediately when he comes down. So you usually can get Vader's lightsaber down, deal 4 damage to something, and then suddenly he's an 8-powered attacker, which is a lot better. We have things like Imperial Interceptor and Black Sun Starfighter as our options in space, giving that Sentinel helps us kind of stabilize a little bit against the more aggro decks, but also Imperial Interceptor helps us deal with like 7th Fleet Defender on a 1-to-1 basis, or just deal with some of the early space units in Boba, or even kill something like, well, that's Fire Spray on a 1-to-1 basis. Other than that, some of the similar things you'll see in Boba Green. We've got the Crumbs, we got the Resupplies, we got Overwhelming Barrage. Crumb and Death Star Stormtrooper are excellent in this deck because if you do go up against like Greedos or anything that ends up being 1 toughness, you can go Death Star Stormtrooper or Salacious Crumb and then use Vader's action to go ahead and get some value there, which ends up being pretty nice. Overall, this deck is kind of your quintessential Vader Green deck with high payoffs such as Darth Vader, Mauls, Reinforcement Walkers, Palpatines, and ramping, but just a little bit more greedy. I will say one of the most important interactions in this deck is Price on Your Head. It can be one of the most powerful cards in your deck, but it can also be one of the biggest traps. If you're getting Boba Green, they can Maclunky it off, so you have to be sure and know when it's a good time to play it. Like, okay, they can Maclunky here, but it's going to be super expensive for them to do so, or I could just play Price on Your Head and get some value. It's really good against the more aggro decks. Actually getting turn 1 ramp, it can be pretty powerful because it can help you get to Vader. It's kind of a little bit of counterintuitive, like shouldn't you want to be dealing with units? Actually ramping and getting to the more powerful cards to actually stabilize is kind of the name of the game with Boba Fett, and that's what we're doing here with Vader Green. So without further ado, let's dive into some games and hopefully take some wins. into our first matchup, and we get ourselves a match against one of the kind of surprising planetary qualifier top 8s in Kylo Yellow. This is not a very good hand. We're really looking for some of our one resource plays, and we do happen to pick them up here. Gonna go to resource with Reinforcement Walker and Rook. This is a okay. We got Dr. Evazan here. In that case, I'm going to go with the Salacious Crumb plus deal 1. I was thinking about going price in your head, but the Dr. Evazan is going to be really, really tough to go ahead and get through this shield if we don't kind of prepare for that. Things like Open Fire and things like, what's it called? Force Choke now work against it. But as I was going to say with Kylo Ren, it actually isn't a terrible matchup here. I think I'm going to resource probably the price on your head now because of, oh wow, they're just going to go ahead and hit my Salacious Crumb. It's not terrible because of Greedo and Death Star Stormtrooper being hit by 1 damage pings that kill their units. So that could be pretty strong. They're going to go Dengar, and they are going to, let's see, maybe play another 2 resource play. Maybe play a couple 1 resource plays. Gets a little bit scary here for sure. Ooh, Dr. Evazan to refresh. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, so we got Time Intervention, which that means I'm actually going to resource this Darth Vader. It might seem like a little bit weird to go ahead and do so, but the reason I'm doing that is because I actually want to Time Intervention out this Rook to kill something. And ideally, I draw a nice play on the following turn. So let's go ahead and Death Star Stormtrooper. Hopefully deal 1 to Dr. Evazan. Let's go ahead and deal 1 to Dr. Evazan here, get rid of the shield. And now we can Time Intervention out Rook. Let's go and get Phase 3 Dark Trooper down to kill Dr. Evazan and refresh our resources, and then potentially get some massive plays going there. Again, what I'd really like to see, do they have a Force Choke? Okay, so they're going to Force Choke. Drew ourselves a Yularen. That ends up working pretty nicely. Force Choke, huh? Bounty Guild Initiate. Okay. Yeah, they're doing a nice job of kind of clearing the board and getting Kylo ready. It really depends on what I'm able to draw this turn. So we drew Phase 3 Dark Trooper. We drew Resupply. Okay, so Resupply is amazing. So what I'm going to do is resource this Yularen. And the reason being is I'm going to refresh all my resources here by Rook, ambushing, killing the Evazan. Then I get to Resupply and Phase 3 Dark Trooper here. Ooh, okay. So they have Kylo Ren being nice and buff here. That's going to be pretty powerful. Let's just go ahead and get down Phase 3 Dark Trooper. And then again, we can resupply to get Vader down. And that's a really nice sequence of draws. It's going to allow us to get Vader down and get some value going. And this Phase 3 Dark Trooper is going to absorb this massive chunk from Kylo Ren. So they can shrink down the Phase 3 Dark Trooper, which is totally fine. And then they can use these 2 units to go ahead and attack. Oh, they're not going to do that. Okay, in that case, we're just going to flip Darth Vader and see what we can do. Okay, let's go ahead and attack the Bounty Guild Initiate and then deal 2 to Dengar. And that's going to wipe, kind of clear their board. And then they're going to draw a couple cards and shrink down this Kylo Ren, which should allow us to go ahead and kill it without potentially losing this this Vader. And we actually end up drawing something really strong in the Overwhelming Barrage. Hot Shot Blaster. Okay, they're going to smuggle it out, and they're going to hit our base. Totally fine. Let's Overwhelming Barrage, kill Kylo. Remember, Rook can kill any unit, which is really strong. Boom, let's go ahead and kill the Silencer, because Vader can go ahead and kill that. Let's go ahead and attack with Rook, and now we're in a very solid spot. So we can go and resource this price on your head. We got a Sentinel, we got Super Laser Technician, which is pretty bad, but we have a lot of ways to kill a bunch of their units. We're actually pressuring them pretty heavily here. So let's go ahead and attack with Vader, kill the... oh, wait, whoops. Let's go ahead and attack the base, hit the Reckless Gunslinger with the 2 damage trigger. And then they can play a unit, which is fine. We'll attack with Rook, and then they have to take initiative. Oh, yeah, we're just going to kill the Toro. No reason to keep any unit alive here for them. We're going to play 2 units here, and then we're going to pass. And now the game is pretty much done. There's nothing that our opponent can really do. So you can see, even with kind of an interesting start for my opponent, we didn't really have the one resource plays that we were really looking for. And they also had the Dr. Evazan, which was really nice in that spot for them. Granted, the second one wasn't that great, but you can see the problem with Dr. Evazan, right? Time intervention, Rook, resetting the resources. We ended up drawing pretty nicely into a resupply so we can get a Vader down that turn. I could have killed Kylo Ren straight up and traded with him, which isn't exactly what I was looking to do. Like, I could have, attacked Kylo, dealt 2 damage to him with the trigger. But remember, Kylo did 1 damage to everything with the Fallen Lightsaber, so it would not have been an amazing trade because I would have lost the Vader. And of course, the ideal spot is to not lose Vader. They end up having the Hotshot Blaster anyways to go ahead and attack into our base, and we would have lost Vader had we traded our attack without the Overwhelming Barrage, but it ended up working out pretty nicely. So great first game. On to the next one. Into our next game, I ended up mulliganing against this Rey Red because our hand was like extremely expensive, and yet we drew ourselves into, well, not a great hand on top of that. It's still workable. Like, we could potentially do stuff. I'm going to go ahead and claim initiative here because we got nothing to do here. And if I play the phase 3 Dark Trooper, they can just put an experience token on it and go to town with R2. But I don't really see anything else that we could do. I suppose we can just open fire, but that doesn't seem great. Yeah, I mean, there isn't really much options that we have here. Let's just go ahead and open fire the R2, just get some damage on it, I suppose. Because going ahead and playing the phase 3 Dark Trooper into the R2 just seems pretty bad here. I'm going to put an experience token on, let's see, the A-Wing. Okay, drew ourselves into more expensive stuff. Let's go ahead and resource one of these Overwhelming Barrages. And let's go ahead and play a phase 3 Dark Trooper. They can go ahead and put an experience token on the R2, which I wouldn't be surprised should they choose to do so. That way they can trade with the phase 3 Dark Trooper. And we can go ahead and deal damage to the A-Wing. There's not much else that we could do here. Our hand was just awful, and we drew pretty awfully to follow it up. But that just happens sometimes. Oh, they had no follow-up play. That's pretty nice for us. By this point, we should be ramping extensively, but that really hasn't happened yet. So we're going to hope. We're going to hope. Let's go ahead and just play a Rook. And maybe that's going to be pretty powerful in this spot. They can make his discard. If they do, it's not that bad for us. We're just going to claim initiative. There's nothing else that we can do. But if they play like a Poe Dameron here, our Rook just kills Poe Dameron, which is really nice. They're going to pillage us, which is fine. I'm just going to go ahead and discard some of the, not like cheap card, not insanely cheap cards, but we have some powerful stuff in our hand right now. Reinforcement Walker, I think, could be potentially valuable. Maul, I think, is weaker than Emperor Palpatine, especially since we've drawn this resupply here. So let's go ahead and resource the Maul. Let's resupply here. And now we can get down the Vader. And, I mean, we are in a okay spot. They could pillage us a second time. And if they do, that's when it gets a little bit risky. Because they can get rid of, like, all of our cards here. We're gonna deploy Vader. If they happen to have Rivals Fall, there's not much that we can do. We can always go ahead and hit Rey with the Rook and then follow it up with Emperor Palpatine on the following turn. And hopefully deal with it that way. Rivals Fall is pretty good against us, as Vader is an extremely powerful unit. So they passed, which means I think I'm just going to claim initiative. We've used a bunch of resources. We have extremely powerful plays here across the curves. There's not really much for us to kind of avoid or like press the advantage. They don't get Rey down this turn, which is extremely valuable. And now I'm going to go ahead and attack with Vader and then just deal some damage to the A-Wing. If they have Rivals Fall, that's fine. But let's go ahead and just, I think we want to attack with Rook here. Or if we pass here, we can just see what they decide to do. We're taking a ton of damage every turn from this A-Wing. Okay, they're going to put an experience token on nothing. They're going to ready up. They're going to ready Rey. Okay, perfect. We'll get down the Emperor Palpatine and kill Rey. Just kill her straight up. Don't have any other advantages. They could have like an Obi-Wan, for example, but that's fine. They have a Luke. They get to kill what? Rook? Yep, they're going to kill Rook, and we're going to claim initiative. So they're gonna go ahead and get the Luke down, which is pretty threatening for sure. That was an excellent draw. Let's go ahead and resource what? The resupply? And I think what we want to do here is attack into Luke. And then hit the A-Wing. We are taking a lot of damage. Remember, we're at 20 damage on our base. Tarkin Town cannot hit Darth Vader, which is why I hit Luke with Darth Vader, because they can't Tarkin Town it right now. Ooh, Force Throw. Force Throw is an extremely nice one for them. But they're not actually going to hit. They're not actually going to hit us. So we can go ahead and get down this Vader and actually kill the Luke here, which is going to be pretty nice. So they can do 5 damage to something. Let's go Darth Vader. Let's get the When Played down. We got ourselves Super Laser Technician or Black Sun Starfighter or Salacious Crumb. So I can go ahead and get any of those. I think in this spot, I'll just get the Black Sun Starfighter. I will ambush the Luke. They can Tarkin Town the Vader. They have a second Luke. Sure. Pretty excellent draw for my opponent. They didn't Tarkin Town Vader, which is a little bit surprising, to be honest. Yeah, I would have expected them to do so. Here we can force choke the Luke and Reinforcement Walker, ideally if they don't have Pillage. But we can't really be playing around Pillage. We have to kill or attack the Luke here. Let's go ahead and play a Reinforcement Walker. Don't draw. Heal up a little bit. Double Luke is tough. That is kind of like their end game. They have tech. Let's go ahead and force choke the Luke. And let's go ahead and claim initiative. So here they decided not to do anything too crazy. Oh, interesting. We got ourselves a Crate Dragon. Let's just go ahead and attack. And I will draw cards actually here. I know they could have a Pillage here. Ooh, they got a Crate Dragon down. Yep, that's going to be pretty much the end of the game here. Trying to think. I mean, we could time intervention out the Rook to kill the Crate Dragon, which looks pretty good. Let's see. Yep, that's only going to deal 6 to us. So I will resolve the ambush attack. And then they get to deal a bunch of damage to us if they want to. Claim initiative. And they can put an experience token on Concord Dawn Interceptors, which they didn't do, which is kind of surprising. But I mean, actually, Rook coming in clutch here. Now we get to get down a Crate Dragon immediately. And they shouldn't have any way to immediately kill us. So we drop our own Crate Dragon. And now Rook can kill their Crate Dragon should it come down. Takedown. We'll deal 4 damage to Tarkin Town. We will then attack in with the Reinforcement Walker. Will not draw Confiscate. And then they can attack us. Deal 4 damage to something, huh? Okay, we'll deal 4 to their base. And I don't know if they know this, but we're going to claim initiative. And then we just get to hit them with Crate Dragon. Wow, what a shakeup. I think we won here. Like, yeah, we hit K2, but it's going to hit us for 3. Then the Concord Dawn Interceptors finishes off the job. So now we just go ahead and hit them with a Crate Dragon. We win. Yep. They play a Yoda. We attack them with Crate Dragon, and we've won. So, I thought we lost there, but then I was like, wait a second, we have time intervention in the resource pile, and that's perfectly... And initially, I was thinking time intervention is going to hit us for 2, and then Rook's going to hit us for 5, because that was the total cost that I had to pay, but it's based on actual cost of that card, so it's only 1 damage, which means we got 29, so we can actually kill off the Crate Dragon and finish off the game. I know we're trying to hunt Boba Greens, but this is a really nice showing. You can see kind of how the power of Rook comes into play in some of these games. This is a card that I think a lot of people... if you are in Villainy Green, you might want to consider it just because there's so many expensive things like Poe Dameron, a Luke Skywalker, Crate Dragon, as you saw, but also like Vaders and Mauls, that it just comes in and actually kills and lives and goes ahead and potentially kills a secondary thing, which can be really powerful. So really nice comeback with Rook basically on its own. Crate Dragon to finish off the game. That was a nice one. On to the next. Okay. we got a matchup against Boba Green. Let's mulligan this hand. Not a great hand. I'm looking for a little bit earlier options for us, and this is a little bit better. I do like the ramp pieces, time intervention going to the resource pile, and probably this reinforcement walker. It's pretty later on in the game. So I've been playing a lot earlier today, kind of fine-tuning the deck, and then I also was playing a good amount the last couple of days against Boba Green. So we're going to see kind of how this matchup goes. I don't mind this start at all. Salacious Crumb giving us that 1 damage, dealt to that Cartel Spacer. Drew ourselves a price on your head, which could be interesting here. They're going to go Super Laser Technician, and I'm also going to go Super Laser Technician. And then let's see if they decide to attack. If they attack, we're just going to claim initiative and not worry about that 1 damage here. Okay, Vader's Lightsaber can be pretty good. And I think in this spot, this is where something like Price on Your Head's really good. Because what we're going to do is we're going to Price on Your Head Super Laser Technician. And remember, they want Super Laser Technician to die. So if they McClunky back Super Laser Technician, it just sets them back a turn. And now we kind of have a really nice spot where we get to go ahead and probably just bounce. Actually, hold on. No. We don't want to bounce here. Wow, this Carabas is lagging a little bit. We're just going to pass here. And they don't get to ready up an additional resource potentially. So they're going to resupply again. That's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and bounce. Yeah, we're going to bounce this to deal 1 damage to our Super Laser Technician, and then we're going to resupply. And then we're going to go ahead and get down to Vader. So now Vader's going to come down the same turn that Boba Fett's going to come down. And we're going to hope that they do not have Boba Fett's armor, because that's the one card that can make this a little bit tricky. Okay, they have Boba Fett's armor. As I said, that could be a bit of a tricky card for sure. But here we're just going to go ahead and kill their Cartel Spacer. Boba Fett's armor is like the best card in their deck. They're going to hit us for 6. We're going to claim initiative. And then we got a Darth Vader. I think we go ahead and resource the Salacious Crumb here. And then we go Vader's Lightsaber here. And we're going to deal 2 to the Boba Fett. And then we are just going to... Do I want to attack in? I can just kill the Boba Fett. So let's just go ahead and kill Boba Fett here. Deal 8. Fett's Fire Spray. Let's go ahead and attack. Deal some damage to their base here. Wow. Carabas is really slow today. Let's go ahead and claim initiative here. And we got ourselves a Rook going in the resource pile. Here, I think we just go ahead and play the Black Sun Starfighter. It's going to prevent the attack in. I know I could attack with Vader and then set up, like, get the initiative. But I think this is kind of going to be the better option of the two. Let's see what they end up getting. If they get a Sentinel here, which they don't normally have, it's not going to be that great. They're not going to be able to go ahead and exhaust my Vader. Okay, so they got down Darth Vader. We're going to go ahead and attack in, deal 2 to the Fett's Fire Spray. And now, oh, they attacked. We're going to claim initiative, and we're going to hope they don't have a Sentinel. Okay, they could take whatever. It doesn't matter. We have 8 damage on our Vader, and that's going to be the end of the game. So, really nice first game against Vader, Boba Green. As I said, that Price on Your Head was the key in that game. It allowed us to keep on par with Boba Fett and get down Vader on the same turn, and then really leverage that. And the Vader's lightsaber is really crucial there as well. It gave us a ton of power and actually made Vader kind of a one-man threat. But Boba Green doesn't actually have that many great ways to deal with these types of cards. That, like, the fat units besides No Good to Me Dead. And generally speaking, Boba Green has gone down from 3 to 2 of that in the list. So I've found that Vader's lightsaber ends up being a pretty well-performing upgrade here. But as you saw, Boba Fett's armor almost made that a game where we lost. That's how strong this card is. This card is just absolutely absurd. So we do have to keep in mind about it. And that's why we have Confiscate main deck. Like, if we had Confiscate, that game would have been not even a chance. Like, that Vader's lightsaber was a Confiscate. We confiscate Boba Fett. We kill him in one shot. He can't get any more damage in. We don't have to do the Overwhelming Barrage, Vader's lightsaber thing. And then we have Overwhelming Barrage later on for any other threats, like, for example, Fett's Fire Spray that comes down. So just to show you how powerful Boba Fett's armor is, that's a game for it. On to the next one. All right, into the next matchup. We got ourselves an interesting one against New Han Green. Another hand that's pretty mediocre, I will say. Really, against Han Green, I actually am looking for like Price on Your Head. That is a really nice card in this matchup. Mulliganing into... It's an okay hand. It's an okay hand. I'm actually going to resource one of the Vaders and the Phase 3 Dark Trooper, because I'm looking to go ahead and play these resupplies every single turn. Of course, they have the Cassian, which is one of the least favorite cards to see on turn 1 in this spot. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and resource this Imperial Interceptor. We're just going to go probably resupply into resupply and then hope that that's good enough. Okay. I'm going to go Fleet Lieutenant here. So going the aggro variant, which of course is something that we needed to figure out quickly in the game. Let's go resupply. If they take initiative, we'll just hit their base for 2. Not much else that we can do. And then we'll pass. Getting ourselves a Super Laser Technician, huh? Okay. I actually do think Overwhelming Barrage here is the choice. If they don't kill this Yularen, I will just go ahead and see if I can not wipe their board, but do some nice damage to it. They're gonna activate Han. They're gonna Adelphi Patrol Wing, get in for 5. Not a bad one, not a bad start here. Let's go Overwhelming Barrage on the Yularen and kill the Adelphi Patrol Wing. And then we're gonna kill probably the Fleet Lieutenant here, since the other one has damage on, or Cassian, because the Fleet Lieutenant doesn't have damage on it, and that's usually not that big of a deal. Or that usually can come with like Carabas and things like that. Okay, so we have Maul, Vader. I think I'll go Yularen plus resupply this turn. And we'll be able to get down Vader. Let's go resupply. And then we'll be able to ready up a Vader. As I said, this Vader deck isn't as good against the hyper aggressive decks. Granted, we had no turn 1 play that was like excellent here. Yularen is okay, but we're really looking for Salacious Crumb, Death Star Stormtrooper to start to get damage on your opponent's units. And Price on Your Head would have been excellent, but that's okay. That's okay. We've got Vader deployed. They got Battlefield Marine. Let's go Yularen here just to see if they're going to ready up their Han Solo. I don't know if it even matters if they do so. I don't think we care. I don't think like getting rid of Han Solo here is going to be all that important. I think what we do is just attack the Sundari Peacekeeper and then deal 2 to a Battlefield Marine. And then we had to have attacked there. There's not really any other option that we've got. But we can claim initiative here. And then what can come down this turn? Ooh, Overwhelming Barrage was an excellent draw. So we can do 7 damage. We can kill Han Solo and Battlefield Marine. So the question is, do I kill Han Solo? And because if I do, they can't deploy a 7 resource play here, which would be like, I'm not even sure what they would have, like Mace Windu potentially, but we're just gonna go ahead and kill Han here. 6 damage, 1 damage. Pretty nice draw there in Overwhelming Barrage. They could have Poe Dameron, I suppose. If they ECL that out, they could have Wrecker, which would be pretty nice for them for sure. They still have ECL available, which is something that we have to keep in mind. But Wrecker, Poe Dameron, these are the 2 that are most obvious. I do like Yularen in play right now, because if I do get to the next turn and I do have a Vader available, then I could potentially heal 2, maybe even 3, maybe even like 4 or 5 if we get lucky. Let's see what they've got. Okay, they're going to hit the Yularen. I'm kind of surprised on that. We're going to hit the base and then deal 2 to the Fleet Lieutenant. Don't want to like waste and pass an action in case they have like Energy Conversion Lab and ends up being really poor for us. I just want to get rid of the board, dealing some damage. They have nothing to play. Well, that's really good for us. Confiscate's pretty mediocre here, generally speaking. We also have Vader's Lightsaber. Remember, you could play this on a Darth Vader unit, not just the leader, and get the damage trigger. So I really like our spot here. So they got a Wrecker. They're going to go ahead and do the Wrecker stuff for sure. Totally reasonable to me. deal a decent chunk to our base. We're going to get down to Vader. We're going to do the when played first, and we get ourselves, what, Salacious Crumb? No, we'll get a phase 3 Dark Trooper. And we'll not ambush because we're going to play the Vader's Lightsaber on Vader to kill the Wrecker here. So Vader's Lightsaber goes on Vader, kills the Wrecker, and now it's an 8/8, which is really nice. Drew ourselves Salacious Crumb and Emperor Palpatine. Don't need to resource anything in this spot. I suppose we could resource the Maul and then play these 2+ deal damage with the Darth Vader, which actually I actually like that play. I think just this is going to be the turn. If they can't kill us this turn, obviously we win. They have a Sentinel. We have Emperor Palpatine deal 6 to something. We have the Salacious Crumb. They can't even play Crate Dragon this turn if they had Crate Dragon. So I think we've sealed off the game. But yet again, another deck that's really strong. All of these decks that we've seen so far are Planetary Qualifier decks. So pretty interesting stuff. They got a K2. They're going to go ahead and attack, deal a couple points of damage, and deal 1 to our base, which is okay. Nothing too crazy there. What we can do is just attack their base, and they're forced to take initiative here. So we attack their base for 8. They're forced to take initiative. And then what I can do here is play Emperor Palpatine. So if I play Salacious Crumb, I'll go down to 23. And if I hit the key 2, then that puts me 3 damage onto the base, which means for a cost kills me. But if I don't, then they could have like a heroic sacrifice and one-shot me. So, and there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that for a cause will be able to kill me here. Because they have time intervention in their deck. So if they have 4 cause here, they have to hit 4 heroism cards, and they did. So that was an interesting one. That was a very interesting one because if they had, like, for example, heroic sacrifice, they win. If they had 4 cause, they have a chance to win. I think that you could go either direction. We saw 1 time intervention. Again, I'm not even sure what on green list this is. If this was open deck list and I only saw 1 heroic sacrifice, I assume they're playing 3/4 causes. I would have gone with the, okay, let's just assume they don't have heroic sacrifice. But what I could have done there, and this was the kind of decision point, was I don't kill the K2 and I just rely on the Vader swing and see if I can win, because for a cause will be able to finish me off. But again, that line leaves me open to the heroic sacrifice plays, as I was mentioning earlier, or potentially something that I'm not expecting. I don't know, like a time intervention Wrecker part 2. That could be really rough for me because that could potentially do a ton of damage. Let's see if that happens. They kill my Vader. Yeah, they kill my Vader. I'm at a ton of damage on base. Or if they have a time intervention Poe Dameron, they kill my Vader, and that ends up preventing me from going ahead and actually finishing off the game, right? And then that still leaves me dead for 4 cause. So I don't know. I think this is the right plan, but again, I don't know my opponent's deck. Maybe they don't have heroic sacrifice at all. So anyways, on to the next game. Into our next game, and this is it's not a great hand. I think we could do better. I think I'm gonna mulligan this, and oh well, double Vader, Maul, Imperial Interceptor is not exactly what I'm looking for. So we're gonna go Colonel Yularen here. They could have Mach Clunky here to kill off the Colonel Yularen. We draw ourselves Timely Intervention and Rook. I think I have to resource this time intervention. This is not an exciting couple of stages for us. Let's go ahead and attack the Salacious Crumb here. They can bounce it. If they want to bounce it, that's fine. They can deal another damage to Colonel Yularen. We're going to play the phase 3 Dark Trooper. We're just going to make the Super Laser Technician attack it. So that's why we did that play. It gets their Salacious Crumb off the battlefield and kind of in a spot where we could potentially take advantage of it. Maul's going to come down too late to one-shot Boba, most likely. We'll see what happens here, though. Let's just go ahead and attack in with the phase 3 Dark Trooper. Maybe Imperial Interceptor can take advantage of something, but there's going to be a Boba Fett that comes down, and there's probably going to be a Boba Fett's armor based on how they've played this. So, pretty rough start. Oh, they passed. Oh, we're claiming initiative immediately then, though. Claiming initiative, no choice, no questions asked. Like, that was probably the best situation that could have happened. They didn't actually use any of their resources. And now we're going to go ahead and overwhelming barrage the Boba Fett for 6, which now means if they go ahead and play the Maul, they get to kill their Boba Fett and keep their Maul alive, or they can kill my Phase 3 Dark Trooper and kill their Maul, and then we trade with their Boba Fett with Colonel Yularen. So, looks like they have their own overwhelming barrage, and they're going to go ahead and take out both of my units, which is totally fine, by the way. Like, this is a fantastic sequence compared to what it could have been. They're probably going to have a 3-drop here, or at least they have Crumb, we know. So, not a terrible spot to be in by any means. Here, we have a ton of different things going on. I think we'll just go ahead and resource one of the Vaders, and we will go ahead and get down this Rook, because then we can go ahead and deal 1 damage to Boba Fett here. To finish him off, which is going to be pretty useful. We could also play the Crumb should something end up being not as good. So they're going to go Waylay. We're going to kill the Boba Fett. I don't think the Waylay was a great situation or play there in terms of, like, they should have attacked with Boba Fett first because they would have readied up a bunch of research or gotten into 4 damage. They're going to go to get down a bunch of stuff. We drew Vader's lightsaber. We have an overwhelming barrage. We have a Vader. We're just going to deploy Vader to straight up just to see what they've got. And this is a pretty nice spot to be in, for sure. This is a very nice spot to be in. They have Maul. Okay. They're going to go ahead and hit, which ends up putting us in a pretty, nice position. Let's see. Overwhelming barrage can't kill the 2 of them. We can go Darth Vader here and hope to hit a Phase 3. I can go ahead and Vader's lightsaber. That doesn't really do anything. Okay, I think what we'll want to do is just go ahead and attack with Vader first and deal a couple points of damage to Maul. Now they're going to attack with Crumb, or they're going to bounce it. That's fine too. Now we get the Vader down, and we go ahead and grab Super Laser Technician. Looks fine. And we get to go ahead and kill the Boba Fett. They're going to replay Salacious Crumb. And we got ourselves resupply Phase 3 Dark Trooper. Vader's lightsaber can come down, and that could actually, alongside Super Laser Technician, can finish off the reinforcement walker should it come down. So I think I like that play. We get to kill Maul off, and now this ends up trading with another Maul should they have it. I suppose it won't because they could put the damage on Salacious Crumb. This is a pretty interesting game. We have overwhelming barrage as well, which I could have done in that spot, but I like this sequence a little bit more. So let's just go ahead and get in for 8 damage here with Darth Vader. We are in a pretty nice spot here. We're going to be able to get down Rook and Salacious Crumb, which puts them in a really rough spot. Because now if they play anything, it just dies to Rook. And it's shielded, by the way. Oh, they play... Yeah, this is really nice for us. They play a Fett's Fire Spray. We are so far ahead on the race here that I'm totally fine with that. We're actually just going to get in for 2 damage with a Super Laser Technician on top of it. I think that's worth it in this spot. So we have a lot of time to play with. We have a Reinforcement Walker in hand, which is going to be pretty nice. Anything they play can't go ahead and kill Rook here unless they have like a Waylay, which will just reset it for a little bit. I think we're in a really nice spot. So they're going to attack for 5. We're going to attack with a Super Laser Technician here to start us off. We can go ahead and replay, or we can just play the Reinforcement Walker if that's the best option. We can go ahead and finish off the game a little bit quicker if we go Overwhelming Barrage on something. Looks like they have Cloud Rider. They're going to go ahead and kill the Salacious Crumb. In that spot, I'm just going to go Reinforcement Walker and heal 3. And the reason I'm doing this first is because they could have something that goes ahead and deal has like a big effect, like of Darth Vader or a Maul. We can go and resource this Phase 3 Dark Trooper. I attack with Rook because that gives us lethal with the Reinforcement Walker. So they're gonna go to exhaust the Reinforcement Walker with the Fett's Fire Spray ability, but then we just attack with Rook after attacking with Super Laser Technician. So now they're looking for a Sentinel, but even if they get a Sentinel, we have Open Fire and Overwhelming Barrage. I don't think they really play Sentinels anyways. So yeah, they have Boba Fett, and that's going to be the end of the game. GG. You can see how Rook kind of really puts a ton of pressure on your opponent. Again, both games, it felt like Rook prevented them from playing anything in the ground arena. And honestly, in the early game, that one crucial turn where our opponent passed, I think was really beneficial for us. They were expecting some other play, I think, because that was their Boba Fett flip turn, and all we had, I think, was an Imperial Interceptor. So the fact that they passed instead of doing anything put us in a huge advantage. Because then we got the overwhelming barrage, dealt 6 damage to Boba Fett. And that's one thing that you really need to keep in mind is getting damage into Boba Fett is really valuable because of Boba Fett's armor. So as soon as you can get damage into it, that's going to really help you out simply because the Boba Fett's armor just makes all of your cards weaker. So just getting him lower on HP allows your Vaders and things like that to actually finish the job, which is really nice. So really nice secondary game against Boba Fett Green. On to the next one. Into our next match, we got ourselves a match against Leia Green. Very interesting one. I'm going to go ahead and resource one of these reinforcement walkers. Actually, you know what? We'll resource both reinforcement walkers. I'd rather keep a lot of my early plays available to me. Double green Leia can go a lot of different directions. They could be trying to ramp. They could be playing things like attack pattern delta and going wide. They could be going ahead and, I mean, they could do a lot of different things. Let's just say that. Let's go ahead and play, or let's go ahead and actually deal a damage to the Alliance Dispatcher here. They have Bail Organa, huh? Okay, interesting. Let's claim initiative. Resupply, huh? I do like resupply. So I dealt a damage, but I think actually in that spot, playing out the Salacious Crumb would have been better because I am just going to go ahead and kill off this Alliance Dispatcher. So I did not expect this to go Alliance Dispatcher, Bail Organa type direction, but then they had no turn 2 play, which is pretty bad for them. So here we go, resupply, and then next turn we could go resupply Darth Vader. So I think actually counter to what you would think, we're actually going to resource this Vader because this turn we're going to go up to 5 resources, and that's going to be pretty important. Let's see what they decide to do. They're going to go experience, deal damage. They're just going to use command to essentially kill this phase 3 Dark Trooper, which I'm totally okay with because we're just going to go resupply Salacious Crumb, and then we're going to go resupply Darth Vader next turn. Let's go Salacious Crumb, heal 1. And then we pass. Draw ourselves a Stabilizer Technician and an Open Fire. I really like Open Fire here, so that's really nice because we can go resupply and Open Fire on the same turn. They're going to activate Leia. Okay, we're going to go Open Fire on Bail just to get rid of him. That way they could put they cannot put an experience token on Leia or anything like that. Let's go ahead and bounce the Crumb. Deal a damage to, I suppose, Wedge. Let's go resupply. Let's flip Vader. And I'm actually going to attack their base, deal 2 to Wedge, and then pass. Might seem a little bit awkward, but if I attack Leia, then Wedge can finish off my Vader. I don't really have anything in my hand going on. We have a lot of really nice draws, right? We have 2 Vaders, a Palpatine, 2 Mauls, a Crate Dragon, like a lot of different options for us. Give Sentinel, huh? Okay, we're gonna just Force Choke Wedge. And then we can go ahead and play Salacious Crumb, heal 1. We can go ahead and kill General Riken. I know this is not exactly what I was talking about earlier, but General Riken kind of changed up the logic there a little bit. Drawing a Crate Dragon is really nice. Now we just go ahead and get down Crate Dragon, and we're in a really nice spot. We're in a really nice spot if we get down Crate Dragon. And they're probably incentivized to kill Darth Vader to start off. Oh, wow. Okay, we're just going to drop it a Crate Dragon, and I don't think they can beat this. I don't really see what they can do. Okay, they played a Bright Hope, which means that we can deal 4 to Leia and finish her off with Darth Vader. And I mean, what can you really do? the game is over. You're my only hope, huh? Oh, they tried to play home one. Okay. So let's go ahead and attack for one. No reason to attack with the Black Sun Starfighter. Drawing some gross things at this stage of the game. But again, I don't think there's anything that really matters here. I like a Reinforcement Walker. That's interesting. They're drawing. Okay, well, we'll just kill them with Great Dragon. It's not like it mattered. Again, Great Dragon is just an absurd card. It just completely finished off the game. And in these more mid-rangey style of decks, that's what Great Dragon does. But they had a pretty weak turn 2. I think if they had any play on turn 2, this game would have been a lot more interesting. Because they had a Bail Organa available, so they could have started putting experience tokens on whatever they put on turn 2. Like, just like a Battlefield Marine, right? Just a Battlefield Marine would have been pretty solid. Because it made a 4/4, right? This is a turn 2 4/4. It's pretty nice. But if they had anything, Echo-based Defender, making it a 5/4 Sentinel, that would have been obnoxious. If they had a Consortium Star Viper, they put an experience token, that could have been pretty obnoxious. Anything, but they did not. Anyways, on to the next game. And what better way to finish it off than a classic matchup, father and son here, Luke versus Darth Vader. This is a pretty common matchup in set 1, although generally both players were playing ECL. Now both players are not playing ECL, although Luke in some cases did not play ECL. So this will be an interesting matchup. I think we are reasonably favored here. I don't mind this hand too much. It's okay, but I much prefer guaranteed ramp, Super Laser Technicians, resupplies, things like that. Looks like we didn't get any of that. We're going to resource this Confiscate and probably the Emperor Palpatine. Confiscate can be okay in this matchup. Luke does sometimes play Traitorous, but we're going to go Death Star Stormtrooper here, and we're going to go Salacious Crumb, most likely. We'll see what our opponent has on the side of the battlefield. They got an Alliance Dispatcher, huh? All right, so we're going to play Salacious Crumb. The reason I'm doing this is because if they put a shield token on Alliance Dispatcher, we can bounce Crumb, kill it with the Death Star Stormtrooper. It's not amazing for us, but we got a path forward. We got a path forward. Shield token Alliance Dispatcher. That's basically the best turn 1 play Luke Skywalker can get. Ooh, okay. I do like these options. I'm going to resource the Phase 3 Dark Trooper now because I like Super Laser Technician and resupply so much. Let's go ahead and bounce this to get rid of a shield token on Alliance Dispatcher. They're going to use it. Probably play something. Oh, that was weird. I don't know why they used it to play the Village Protectors. But hey, you know, that's a reasonable play. Let's go Super Laser Technician now. And they're going to put another shield on it, I assume. Yeah, double shielded Village Protectors. Oh, that's why. Duh. I was like, why did they do that? But of course, they've got a shield token on the Village Protectors. Here, let's go to resource, probably Force Choke. And let's just go ahead and I think we'll just attack, get a resource. And now we can go Salacious Crumb, resupply, deal 1. Echo Base Defender, huh? Okay, that's going to be an easy trade for me. That way they can put a shield token on it if they wanted to do so. Can't put a shield token on the Village Protectors. They're stalling out actions here. Let's go Salacious Crumb. And then we can deal another damage to Village Protectors, get another shield token off, and we'll pass. So definitely a really nice start for my opponent in terms of options that they had available to them. They have massively shield up Village Protectors, and I do actually like Village Protectors in this deck. It's really quite obnoxious, actually. But we are now on 7 resources, and we're going to be able to deploy Vader this turn, and that's going to really put kind of a pause in my opponent's game plan, I imagine. Let's see if they go ahead and get down to Obi-Wan here. So they do have an Obi-Wan, which means we get to go ahead and play Darth Vader. And we get to grab... We can get Salacious Crumb. I think we just get a Super Laser Technician here. We will ambush. We're going to hit Obi-Wan here. And now we can bounce Salacious Crumb to go ahead and deal 1 to Obi-Wan. They can put the shield token or experience tokens on Village Protectors if they want. They're going to claim initiative here, huh? Okay, so we're going to bounce, kill Obi-Wan. Let's see if they put the 2 experience on Alliance Dispatcher or on Village Protectors. Oh, what? They didn't give experience tokens to anyone. Okay. Well, we're going to clear their board, I suppose. And now the game is basically over. Don't really see how our opponent can come back from that. But hey, I guess we'll find out. Resupply here can go into the resource pile. We don't have a time intervention to be able to do something insanely cool here. But what do we want to do here? We can Overwhelming Barrage, I suppose. Overwhelming Barrage doesn't sound too bad. No, I think I'll just trade off my Vader. I think that's fine. Keep the Darth Vader unit leader readied up so that I can kill Luke Skywalker in one shot should he deploy it. And this way I can still get Reinforcement Walker. It just seems to make very little sense to go ahead and do anything else but just get down my most expensive play here. So they're passing again. Let's get Reinforcement Walker down. Let's draw a card. And yeah, they can keep passing here, but sure, we'll just claim initiative. And now we just used up 8 resources. They used up 3. They didn't deploy their Luke, and now we are just in an amazing spot, right? So now we get to go out and attack with Reinforcement Walker. We will draw every card that we can. And now we are just, again, in an amazing, amazing spot. So they have U-Wing reinforcements, but that's okay because we have a Overwhelming Barrage, which we saved for a moment like this. They could have Home 1 to follow this up on the following turn, but again, Darth Vader is just so, so good. Let's see what they've got. Let's see what they've got. They could have, you know, Sentinel, a couple Sentinels, but I just don't think it's going to be all that relevant because we should be able to kill off. Okay, there you go. Village Protectors is a card that can be shielded and can go ahead and put a damper on things. But we can go Overwhelming Barrage on Darth Vader and deal 5 here, 2 here. Now we kill off the Village Protectors with Super Laser Technician, and then we can kill Luke with Vader. And I mean, the game is completely over. Boom, kill that. Now we can put a price on your head on the Luke if we want, or we can just get down a Rook. Doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and kill Luke. Boom. Luke's dead. We've got a Rook to follow it up. And I mean, our hand is completely stacked. Completely stacked. Drawing a second Overwhelming Barrage is pretty awesome in that spot as well. And I mean, this is just a matter of time at this point. Yep, kill, sure. Let's go Overwhelming Barrage on Reinforcement Walker. Let's kill Luke. I could do this all manner of different ways. I could kill it with just the Rook attack. We'll draw open fire, sure. Let's play you Lauren. Let's play an Imperial Interceptor. Let's attack with Rook. Doesn't really matter what I do at this point. Doesn't matter. And a GG. As I said, this is a pretty Vader-favored matchup. They're kind of doing the same game plan. They had a nice start in Alliance Dispatcher into Village Protectors. I hadn't really thought about that. But of course, they're putting the shield token on Village Protectors. A double shielded 2/2 Sentinel can be a pretty obnoxious thing to deal with, especially in a deck that has big units but not like small damage sources. But overall, didn't really do anything after that. They had the Echo Base Defender, which I think they should have attacked with Village Protectors first into my Death Star Stormtrooper and then played the Echo Base Defender, because if they decided to do that, then they would have kept a shield token on the Village Protectors and they would have had another Sentinel to put a shield token on, and that would have potentially changed the whole game. So I think that was probably the thing that changed the whole game, was that one turn they played Echo Base Defender and had 2 resources left over. It did nothing with them. They could have even not played it with the Alliance Dispatcher and then attacked with the Alliance Dispatcher into our base for 1. Not that that would have mattered necessarily, but yeah. Anyways, pretty nice showing. Let's talk about the deck. So we fought against a bunch of meta matchups today. We got 2 Boba greens. We had a Rey red. We had a Kylo yellow. Some of these more like tier 1.5s and in Rey red and Kylo yellow, but they did actually end up doing well in some planetary qualifiers, so you could consider them part of the meta. We did have that Han green matchup, which we lost, and I think we won every other matchup. A couple of random ones sprinkled in there, such as the previous one like Luke green. But overall, the deck is very good. I think a couple cards that end up going up in value for me based on how Boba Green has played is Rook and Vader's Lightsaber. One of the things that you'll notice about Boba Green is, generally speaking, they are no longer running Waylay in the main deck, and instead they're just focusing on their ramp and their own game plan, which has caused something like Rook to be a lot more powerful, and a Vader's Lightsaber, being that they don't have a way to immediately one-shot Darth Vader with the exception of like Overwhelming Barrage on a generally speaking, Vader's Lightsaber has become really, really nice for me. Again, these are adaptations based on how Boba Green has adapted to the meta overall. Of course, the rest of the deck, we didn't actually get a matchup against Sabine Green, but like things like Force Choke are in the deck for those matchups. Same with like Open Fire, those are really good. The Salacious Crumb and Death Star Stormtrooper are excellent in those games as well. And we are just playing a value game plan. In the sideboard, we have a couple of ways to go. As I said, control is very, very difficult for us. And as such, we have Pillages, we have Relentlesses, we have Crate Dragons. Some of these are good in multiple matchups, like Pillage is good against some other ramp decks. It could be good against, in Boba Yellow's case, for example. Crate Dragon can be good against those ramp decks as well. Relentless is specifically for control. Traders can be good in various different matchups where people are upgrading, like Ray Red can be a matchup where Traders can be nice. But you have a lot of different options. I'd say the most important card to keep in mind against Boba Green, if you are looking to fight against that deck, is his armor. Boba Fett's armor is an absurd card, and it's the card that really makes the deck feel unbeatable in some circumstances, because he comes down on turn 3. He's already a 4/7. He becomes a 6/9. You can't deal him with normal means. You can't play Rival's Fall unless you're playing a control deck, and even so, you're probably 2 turns away from that. So you need another way to deal with it, and that's why we're playing Confiscate main deck. Not to mention, Confiscate's also really good against Sabine Green, so it's both for those matchups. If your opponent goes 4 resources, play a Darksaber on Sabine, and you go Confiscate plus Phase 3 Dark Trooper, the game feels ridiculously over for your opponent. Can you imagine, like, your opponent's playing these units, you go Phase 3 Dark Trooper, they're like, oh, I can just play Darksaber and then attack my way through it. You go Confiscate, and suddenly their Sabine is small enough to where you actually get an experience token on your Phase 3 Dark Trooper. Yeah, that's the type of game that we're talking about. So overall, pretty solid deck. I'm surprised we haven't seen more Vaders, not just like because I think he's top tier or anything like that, but because I think he is solid, and I think he's like in the like high B tier, low A tier. I think Vader Green has actually gone up in value for me, this specific deck, but because there's a lot of like random decks out there, and there's not really just like random people playing Vader Green. I'm just a little bit surprised about that. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you all for the next one.